For now at last I know beyond all doubt the great stars burn with my unceasing fire, and life and death are both his fuel made. So the faggots which feed the stars are life and death. They are the fuel to make the stars burn. But it is my unceasing fire. It is that which makes the stars burn. My unceasing fire. Because of that, the stars burn. And that fire is sustained by both life and death. Death has an equally important part in the scheme of things, and it is that which makes stars burn life. Stars burn with my unceasing fire. In the Divine Comedy, the last line is, love that moved the sun and other stars. That is the last line of Divine Comedy, Dante's. Love that makes move the sun and other stars. It is on the power of love that the sun and the stars burn. But actually, this aspect of death making them burn is missed there. Love comes as the last thing. Before that is the process of life and death which makes the stars burn. And then Savitri makes a tremendous revelation. In fact, this itself is a tremendous revelation. At last I know beyond all doubt the great stars burn with my unceasing fire, and life and death are both his will made. As I said last time, this is important. Now at last I know. Until now she was not aware that it was her fire, unceasing fire, which was making the stars burn. So the contribution of death in the knowledge of Savitri is that it is because of him she has realized that yes, it is my own fire which is making them burn. So in a certain sense, we can say that this knowledge to Savitri, this revelation to Savitri has come because of the obstinacy of death. She sees its importance in the whole scheme of things. Now, at last, I know. This should not have come, this now would not have come in the absence of this event. And life and death are both his fuel made. Life only was my blind attempt to love. Until now, I was only counting upon life. And only through life, I was attempting to love. But then, that was a struggle. That was only a half attempt. Life only was my blind attempt to love. Earth saw my struggle. Heaven, my victory. Because of life only. All shall be seized, transcended. They shall kiss, casting their veils before the marriage fire, the eternal bridegroom and eternal bride. The heavens accept our broken flights at last, on our life's prow that break the waves of time. No signal light of hope has gleamed in vain. Well, about this particular thing, about these two lines particularly, let us read what Mother has said. I have already sent you the material, but we will quickly see some of those things. Very beautiful In fact, she is the one who has pointed out the importance of these two lines, Mother. The great stars burn with my unceasing fire, and life and death are both its fuel made. Life only was my blind attempt to love. Earth saw my struggle, heaven my victory. She says, that is Savitri says, Mother is telling, Savitri says, life and death are the fuel. Then, in my blind attempt, life only was my attempt to love. Only through life I was attempted to love. The mother later stressed again, it is not life was only, but life only. Because my attempt to love was blind. I limited it to life, but I won the victory in death. This is what she is doing now here. It is in death that she is winning the victory. In life alone she would not have. When that death occurs, then is really the victory won. And therefore, go back again to the last line of the first canto. This was the hour when Satyavan must die, must die. It is only through that must die that the victory can be won. Living alone is not going to win the victory. He must die, then the victory is won on life. Because my attempt to love was blind, I limited it to life. But I won the victory in death. She says it is very interesting. It is interesting that because of death, that she has won the victory. Therefore, Shivavendu must withdraw to win victory over death. He must withdraw, you see. In fact, the mother makes a very, for us, very bold kind of a statement by saying that Shivavendu's presence was proving an obstacle for transformation. Yeah, yeah. His presence, his being there was proving an obstacle in the process of transformation. Because ultimately what has to happen is the physical body has to respond. It is that which, if something is coming down and if Shivavendu is absorbing that, then the physical body is not able to open itself to it. The cells have the power, they must have the power to open themselves directly to the Supreme. Shivavendu is there, okay, no, it's not good. He is receiving all that and then transmitting, so to say, to the physical. But then the physical must open directly to that light which is coming down. So she says that in a way, his presence was proving a kind of a block for that thing to happen. And therefore, it was necessary for him to withdraw. So that the physical is totally exposed to the mercies of all the circumstances, including the power which is coming down, you see. Then the real opening, the spontaneity of the process of transformation can occur. So the incarnate divine is an obstacle, you see, in a certain sense.
What about his work then?
Huh?
What about Shivavendu's work?
Shivavendu, he didn't need anything for himself. He had everything, whatever he wanted. He was not doing anything for himself at all. Whatever he wanted, he already had. He was doing it for this creation, to carry out God's work. And therefore, first thing is, he has brought down the power into his physical, made things possible. Now the physical has to open out. therefore withdraw. That is the spontaneity of the creation from below opening to the supreme above. It's not only from the pressure from above trying to bring out something from below. This has to open out. See, you have to say, you can say, my body, you can pray. You can call the mother and say, let thy peace be established in the physical cells. That is a prayer. Let thy peace be established in the cells of the body. You can keep on saying, let thy peace be established in the cells of the body. Okay, that's a good thing. But then that must be complemented by saying, the cells saying, let thy peace, let me be open to your peace, to thy peace. The cell should say, cry, pray, let me open myself to your peace. The cells have to cry and open out and say, you can say, let the peace come down and establish in the physical. But the physical has to say, let me open myself to you and receive your peace, your light, your love, your beauty, your joy, whatever you want to call it, you see. So it is a complementary, coming down from above and working here, and this opening from below and offering itself for that working is the important thing. So the second phase is the most important thing. This opening out from below to the above. And that is the entire transition. So there you can see now the real role of death. It has to come out. Okay, let's read what Mother says here further. Earth saw my struggle, heaven my victory. I limited to life, I won the victory in death. Yet earth could see the victory should be on earth. Should it be? Yes. Yes, but she couldn't win the victory on earth because she lacked heaven. She could not win the victory in life because she lacked death, and she had to conquer death. Death in order to conquer life. That's the idea. Unless we conquer death, the victory isn't won. Death must be vanquished. There must be no more death. That's very clear. According to what he says in Savitri Shebindu, it is the principle of love that is transformed into flame. Here, about this one. According to what he says here, it is the principle of love that is transformed into flame and finally into light. So love becomes flame and light. It is in the principle of light that is transformed into flame when it materializes. It is the flame that is transformed into light. The great stars give light because they burn. They burn because they are under the effect of love. Love would be the original principle. Not light, not fire, love. There again, you get now the proper justification to Dante's line, love that makes move the sun and other stars, in the ultimate sense. That seems to be what he is saying. I didn't remember this passage. Mother says after all that thing, you see. She has read Savitri, but she doesn't remember this passage. But I told you my experience of 13th April 1962, when the great pulsation was flowing into her, is that the last thing as one rises, the last thing beyond light, beyond consciousness, beyond, the last thing that reaches is love. one. This one is the I don't know. According to the experience, is the last thing to manifest now in its purity. And it is one that has the transforming power. It is that which has the power of transformation. That's what it appears to be saying here. The victory of love seems to be the final victory, and so on. You see. But basically, this is the crucial passage in the whole of the dialogue. In fact, I will say the crucial stage is here. Life alone not sufficient. Life and death are both its fuel made. The heavens accept our broken flights at last. On our lies proud breaks waves of time. No signal light of hope has gleamed in vain. No signal light of hope has gleamed in vain. Yes, death is there. It is not there for nothing. Death is there not for nothing. No signal light of hope has gleamed in vain. He is contributing in a certain sense